With time, my cries fell silent. Hugging myself in the fetal position, I tried to master the situation and my emotions. I couldn't remember a time when everything had been this crappy.
What's wrong with me? First this sick dream, then out of the blue I throw up, and now there's this thing on my forehead. I traced my fingers over it looking for proof of what I had seen earlier. For some reason, I thought I would be able to feel it. But everything felt completely normal. There wasn't a raised patch or any part of my skin that felt different. Once more I ran my fingers over the symbol, when suddenly a force stopped them midway. My thumb was moving towards my forehead as though drawn there by a magnet. As it made contact, I felt an electric shock. It wasn't painful, but it radiated through my fingers, my hand, my arm, then finally spread over my entire body.
Kaiki, what on earth was that? Then, all of a sudden, the shock reversed course, and it seemed as if it was collecting energy into my body and concentrating it all in one spot, in the middle of my forehead. What's happening to me? What's going on here? I tried to lift my thumb, but I couldn't do it. It was positively glued to my forehead. Helpless and scared, I felt something interfere with my thoughts. I saw images flashing by like a movie. Some of them seemed familiar, but others I saw the first time. The images moved quicker and quicker. I closed my eyes hoping to make them stop, but I only made it worse. I strained to pull my hand away from my forehead. The second my thumb left my face, the flow of energy stopped and the strange images disappeared. I wanted to cry, instead tried to control myself by taking a deep breath. Sometimes breathing helped me collect my thoughts and sometimes it didn't. Next thing, a warm, comforting feeling began to blossom from the spot the energy had collected in my body. Who you? Cake 5. Indescribably electrifying, pleasant, and warm. Everything in my body felt so light, almost weightless. Please don't stop, not now, when it feels so good. A higher power read my thoughts, and the heavenly feeling spread even further. I had never experienced anything like it before, and the further it spread, the less fear and uncertainty I felt. I felt incredible. Amazing, in fact. Kaiki, it feels so wild. The feeling of being in love and being loved all at the same time, like vanilla ice cream and hot chocolate all at once. I can't describe it, just KKY. Relishing the feeling of pure bliss, I realized everything around went completely silent. No noise. No ticking. What just happened? Was I dreaming? Something inexplicable happened when my thumb made contact with my forehead. A feeling of pure vitality surged through me, both physically and emotionally. Suddenly, Claire stormed into the bathroom, breaking the peaceful atmosphere. She started right in, frantically spluttering words from her mouth like some lunatic. Typical Claire. Holy shit, Sophie.
Sophie, what's up with you? What happened? What are you doing on the floor?
From where I sat, Claire looked taller than she was, yet somehow less superior than usual. The thought made me smile, and for some reason the sight of her, standing there red-faced and scolding me like some irate teacher, resulted in fits of LOLs. Claire stood there, baffled, shaking her head.
You didn't take drugs or something, did you? Tell me you didn't, Sophie. We promised each other, no drugs.
Claire looked at me, shocked and disappointed. I wanted to explain to her, but laughter took hold of me and made me laugh some more.
What is there to laugh about when you're in here puking your guts out? What did you take, Sophie, tell me?
Claire, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I definitely didn't take any drugs. To tell you the truth, I think it's cake-eyed hat you would accuse me of such a thing.
Be honest, Sophie. Girl Scouts honor.
Claire kneeled down and looked directly into my eyes.
Sophie, what's up with you?
Claire said, in a forceful yet unsettled way.
Should I call a doctor? What's wrong?
Yes, Claire. You're right about that. Only I don't know what happened. Do you notice anything odd on my face? I held my forehead right up to her. There was no way she could miss it, despite it being a light gray. It was certainly visible. Claire would notice it straight away. She was the type of person who waged war on every minute.
There's nothing there. In a situation like this, you're trying to get me to look at a new pimple on your forehead? What are you doing? Stop it. You're lying on the floor as white as a corpse. 10 minutes before that you were puking your guts out, and now you're talking nonsense, laughing at things that aren't funny, can't explain to me what happened to you, unable to give me any kind of explanation for your condition, and you keep trying to get me to look at something that's not existing. Honestly, you're freaking me out.
Sorry, Claire, but it's really important. Do you notice anything on my forehead? A symbol? A tattoo? Claire looked at me with concern, frowning.
No, there's nothing there. Your skin is almost too perfect, except for...
She saw it. I knew she would. What? Anxiously I waited for an answer from her.
There's a tiny, really tiny, mark on your skin, hardly worth mentioning, just a blemish. You should put a little foundation on it, no one will see it. I wish I had your skin.
How is it possible that she can't see it? I needed to check once again, but the fear that the cross might still be there held me back. Still I had to look. With apprehension, I pushed myself up from the tub. It wasn't as hard as I thought it might be. I had made a full recovery. With a worried look on her face, Claire helped me up. I didn't need her help. My vertigo had completely gone. About 6 feet away from the mirror, I stared at my reflection. I met my own gaze in a flash. All my interest directed at one spot. All my hopes were dashed. The symbol was clearly visible, right in the middle of my forehead, and it even seemed to stand out more clearly than before. No, I don't believe it. Please disappear. A load came crashing down on me, and my knees buckled. My whole body floundered for a fraction of a second. I grasped at the sink, trying to keep my legs from giving in. Upon seeing the cross, any positive feelings I had vanished into an emotional void which exploded in front of me. Claire noticed my unsteadiness and immediately grabbed me by my arm. Looks like I am still a little weak after all. It was a clumsy attempt to downplay the situation. In reality, I felt like crap. Even my expression KKY, which I often refer to describe extreme situations, seemed inadequate. What's happening to me? Where did this thing come from? And why does Claire not see it? Is this a sick joke? I made my way towards the mirror, ever closer, so close I could almost touch it with my nose. My face looking back at me. Unsettling, I didn't let fear take over. Yes, it definitely looked like a cross, but at closer inspection I immediately realized that it wasn't symmetrical. It is a cross, like the one they nailed Jesus Christ. Who did this to me? Claire looked at me, dumbfounded.
Who did what to you?
This thing here. Pointing at my forehead. This cross. Right here. Claire looked at my forehead again, and then stared at me.
There's nothing there, Sophie, there's no cross. Not even a little one, I don't see anything.
I could clearly see it, but it was invisible to Claire. So you don't see anything on my forehead? No cross? Nothing at all? Claire nodded.
Yes, nothing there, everything's fine. Could it be, Sophie, that you imagine it? Sophie, I think you're imagining things. Maybe you've got a little too much on your plate right now. The stress of preparing for getting ready for our big birthday party, your diet, and all of that.
A few minutes ago, Claire's answer would have made me sob, like pouring oil on a fire. But strangely enough, It had the opposite effect. My emotions were settling. I felt better, safer and stronger. Since she didn't see the cross, there was no point in mentioning it. It would only reassure her that I might actually be losing my mind. You're probably right. I did have a nightmare a little while ago. Maybe all this is just a side effect. What did you eat today? Well, just a small breakfast. Nothing else. And what I had eaten all went down the toilet.
I'll make some tea, then I'll go downstairs and grab us something sweet from the cafeteria. In any case, you're in no condition to go anywhere later. We can come up with some ideas on what we should do for our birthday party.
You're right, Claire. Thank you for being here for me.
Hey, what kind of a statement is that? Of course. I'm here for you. Did you forget we were BFFs?
Claire smiled at me.
Now you need to lie down for a bit.
Claire helped me to my feet. I just need to go to the bathroom. You go ahead and make the tea. I promise I'll lay down. Promise me? I promise, Claire. Tea and cake sound like a great idea.
Do you want anything in particular?
If they have something with poppy seeds, that would be great. Otherwise, just get something sweet. I heard Claire fill up the kettle before she finally set off. I returned to the task at hand and went back and studied the cross with more intensity. I discovered that it consisted of 2 vertical stripes, each about a centimeter thick. I pressed my finger on it ever so slightly, tracing the edge of the ink. It felt normal to the touch. I pushed and pulled at my skin a little, and felt no pain. It seemed normal. Looking at it, I began to feel okay about it. Good, actually. The nausea and vertigo were both gone. A minute ago, I was convulsing on the floor trying to come to terms with the condition I was in, and now things were looking up. It was a complete turnaround, and all because I took another look at it. I wondered if it affected me in any way. I was already mulling over the best possible ways to remove it. It was a foreign object in the middle of my face, and it was scaring me. One thing was clear. It had to go. But how?